Well, I'll tell you what, I'm really proud of our young men, especially those seniors. They've been through so much through the pandemic, coaching changing, just a whole lot of uncertainty over the years, a lot of ups and downs, and they really left a great example on this young football team in the sense of just reestablishing what it means to be Temple Tough, fighting through adversity during the course of the season, and just staying the course, really building a bond that created an attitude to really want to play hard for one another. And I'm really proud, and we'll hold them true to the foundation of us moving forward. And I know they put respect back on this program, and I'll be forever grateful for that senior class. And boy, I would love to have had a W on the board for them. They've done so much that won't get taken for granted, that I think will be bigger than this game moving forward, and something that's going to be huge for us to really build upon in the very near future. So I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Stan, can you talk about how those guys helped you navigate through your first season?
Say that one more time.
Can you talk about how the seniors helped you navigate your way through the first season?
Well, I'll tell you what, they were, they were the bridge for me. A new coach coming in with a vision, philosophy in place, and those were the guys who were responsible for taking the vision and the words into the locker room, bridging that gap of communication from an old man like myself to something that those players can relate to and rally around. And it wasn't easy for them. It wasn't immediate buy-in by any stretch. There was a lot of lifestyle changing that needed to take place, a lot of self-esteem that had to be restructured, and those seniors just kept it positive, kept it encouraging for the young guys, and gave them a great platform to follow. Just through their actions most of the time. You're not dealing with a verbal generation anymore, but they will respect the actions of Adam Klein every day, who just regardless of what was going on with his body, show up and put forth maximum effort in anything we asked him to do. And Isaac Moore, who had to fight through injury, just to get back to fall camp, missing all of spring ball and being nothing but a mouthpiece of encouragement for guys who were being developed while he was out. Just a lot of examples like that leave no excuses for our young guys in the future. So they've been instrumental that way, and it's been priceless. And again, never forget the sacrifices and the lessons that were delivered from them to this team, and we'll always hold them in high regard.
Stan, did you change your mind during the timeout on that fourth down, or what was the thought process there?
Yeah, I was hoping, with 3 minutes left on the clock, I was hoping to punt the ball, try to put them in, an advantageous field position for us. I thought our defense was starting to get some momentum there a little bit in the fourth quarter, and the quarterback on a third and long, whatever that situation was, makes an unbelievable play, and I didn't have that in the thought process, obviously, but give credit to ECU for taking advantage of that opportunity and using the rest of that clock, and putting us in a tough situation to try to win that ball game with a minute and, can't tell you exactly, a minute and 40 seconds I think left on the clock, minute and 22 seconds left on the clock. But no, I knew we were going to get the last possession, and that's what I wanted, to give ourselves a chance to win, and we got it, and we just didn't execute. So.
Okay, yeah, but you did send the offense out there. They're the ones who called that timeout. It certainly looked like you guys are ready to go with with 5 wide receivers set up for EJ on fourth one.
I call the timeout.
Okay.
They don't call timeouts.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always the one calling the timeout, and I just thought that, give our defense a chance to stop them. And I knew with the time that we had on the clock, with 3 minutes left on the clock, that I was going to get the last possession of the ball game. But again, we just didn't execute. So,
Stan, you got a freshman in EJ. I mean, 19 years old. He's top 5 in so many Temple records already. And talk about how excited you are to have him for at least another 2 years.
Oh man, I'm gonna take it 1 year at a time. I'm excited about the growth that still needs to take place in EJ. He needs to lift and train like a real quarterback, physically change his body so that, the ball will pop off his arm a little differently, a little bit more effectively for next year, and really grow in a lot of different areas intangibly, just becoming that warrior for us, from a vocal standpoint, taking charge of the offense, and maybe add a few more elements to his game that is needed in critical situations, and it's just watching his confidence grow. I mean, there's still a high ceiling for EJ. I know he's doing great stuff for us right now, but he's nowhere near the potential that I believe this kid has within him. So, one step at a time. He's got to get in that weight room. He's got to get stronger. We got to add some elements to his game and see where it goes from there.
Stan, just to clarify, you're saying that on the 4th and 1 play, you guys brought the offense out. We were under the impression that ECU called that time.
Oh, I'm on the wrong play for you.
So
Yeah.
4th and 1, you guys bring the offense out.
Right.
They call the timeout. During that timeout, were
Right.
you, like to follow up on what Sean was saying, were you guys intending to go for it with the one that your mind?
Initially,
was
yes.
timeout?
I misunderstood you. Yes. Initially, yes, I was going to go for it.
What changed during the timeout?
Again, the same conversation, right? 3 minutes left on the clock, punt the ball, trying to make them go the distance, and end the game with us having possession of the football in a 2-minute situation that we practice every day and can be pretty good at it. And I thought offensively we had momentum throwing the football that we, kind of lost in the last drive of that game. But yes.
Had they not called it, you guys were set to run the play there?
Yeah.
Stan, can you talk about your conversation with Donald leading up to this game? I know it had hurt him not to be able to suit up on his senior day, but what was that conversation like? What was it like having him on the sideline, still being a supporter of senior day?
Yeah, we knew for a couple of weeks that 3 weeks ago was probably his last game. But just very thankful for what he brought to that receivers room from a leadership standpoint. Showed those receivers how to work. How to take the game seriously. The passion and the love that he has for the game is something that's contagious, and not always very vocal, but very strong through his actions and how he goes about his business on a daily basis. So was just very thankful for him and just bringing those things to the table, which really helped our receivers room grow quite a bit.
It felt like all of the big receiving plays were after the catch. A lot of your receivers were breaking tackles, Jose, Ahmad and Jose. Like, you talked about the run after catch and how that was another huge factor to passing a game today.
Yeah, those are the hidden yards that, that wins ball games. And the more we become better at those things, those can really set you up for a lot of victories in the future. So when we talk in terms of getting stronger in the weight room, that's something that has to show up. We got to be able to break tackles. The sign of a great player is what you can get on your own. If you're sitting wide open in the zone because you did your job and the quarterback throws on time because he did his job, those are things that we expect to happen. But what are the intangible things that make a great football player is being able to get yards on his own, and that's a mindset that needs to be complemented with good strength training. That helps our kids get a little bit more confident in doing that on a more consistent basis. So I'm so excited to get this team to the offseason. There's so much growth that's going to take place, and there's a lot of confidence in that locker room right now, even though we're not living on a whole bunch of W's right now, but there's a lot of small victories that we can build from and grow from, and that's going to be a huge component moving forward, is helping our players create on their own.
It seemed like on the other side you guys struggled tackling, especially against their run game.
Yeah. I really hadn't seen a whole lot of people all season long tackle that back. guys, he's the real deal. He's little, but he's extremely elusive. And I looked at Cincinnati last week, they didn't tackle him. You know, I looked at UCF, they didn't tackle him. You know, some of the best defenses in our conference did not tackle that running back. You know, and there were some things that we could have did better to, not let that beat us solely. You know, like tackle the receivers from time to time. You know what I mean? And but that running back's the real deal. So I got to give that kid a lot of credit. I mean, he's a very elusive football player. We knew exactly what he loved to do and kind of bait you inside and bounce it outside. We had a plan for it, and you know, just got to give credit to that talent.
When did you?
When did Zach Gill get that single digit this week?
Yeah, glad you brought that up. That's a young man who's been on the edge of being a single digit from day one. Just we're waiting to see what he was going to do from a level play standpoint, and he's one of those players that are so underestimated. You know, when you look at the success of our run stopping defense when we're really good, a lot of that spotlight comes right back down to Zach Gill, guy who's playing nose off a torn Achilles the year before, and all of a sudden this year, you know, there's a lot of stoppage going on, you know, when he's out there. A young man who just lost his grandfather 2 weeks ago, who drove home to North Carolina 8 hours just to see his grandfather pass away. And 2 days later, shows up to play against Houston, right, guys? You know, and leaves the Houston game and goes to the grandfather's funeral. And immediately the next day after the funeral, he's driving back up from North Carolina to be with his boys because he knew he couldn't miss practice. And to me, that is a single digit when you're that unselfish and the team is that important to you. And you've been a great example through your actions, both on and off the football field. It was long overdue for him to get that award, and it's never too late. And he's been a great leader for this football team all the way to the end. So even though he got that reward a little late, he'll be always remembered by our football players as a single digit.
Final question. Sean, did you have one?
I was going to ask about Zach.
Okay.
Not giving the sugar coulda wouldas, but there's an argument that you could have finished your first season 7-5 with like 4 different pleas. How do you, as a rookie coach, you know, look past that and say, just learn from what happened this year, move on, and elevate and grow next season?
Yeah. I'm gonna answer it with this comment. I cannot wait to get this team to the offseason. We've learned so much along the way, and there's so much to take and build from. And you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda doesn't exist in my mindset. Things happen for a reason. And again, I think every player to come up here will have something to say about, you know, the lessons that we learned and the journey that we're on. We won't have any regrets. You know, everything was supposed to happen the way it did, and you know, the lessons were hard at times, but probably needed to be from where we were and where we're coming from. So I just cannot wait to get this team to the offseason. And let's start talking about things that are going to be a little bit more concrete and things that we can control a little bit better moving forward.